call the Jamestown City Council work session to order. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilman Sheldon?
Here.
Schultz?
Here.
Scotchmer?
Here.
Jarzynski? Faulkner?
Present.
Bonfiglio?
Here.
Enquist?
Present.
Gonzalez?
Here.
President Brackman?
Here. Is there anyone that would like to address the council this evening? If so, state your name, address, and keep your comments to 5 minutes.
Paul Wolf, 212 Fulton Street. May I approach just a little closer? I have something here that I'd like everybody to be able to hear before I read something. Is that okay? Just so everybody can hear it. I don't know if you all will be able to hear it from me.
Okay.
Hello, Marky. How's your microphone working? Is it working? Good. My name is. No, I won't say it. But I want to complain about your microphone and the potholes and sidewalks. And fix it. It's the city's responsibility. And I want to complain about my neighbor. And that is all I'm going to complain about for now. Oh, okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a, as of now, removed test live stream audio done for our city council meetings. Now I'd like to read to you an email that was written on May 5th. This was from me to the mayor's office. While I mentioned it briefly at the April 27, 2026 voting session, I thought I should reach out to your office. The gentleman who works in your office was broadcast live to a live stream audio test. He chose words in a tone that made me feel like a personal attack. My name is, no, never mind, I won't say that, that's mean, in case you didn't hear it. After my wife told me about it and called the mayor's office and let me watch it after people had messaged her about it because other people had seen it, because there's notifications that go out when your live stream goes live. People watch it when it's not scheduled, like I mentioned. She also called your office. Ashland called back and asked to speak to me, and she assured me that he was not mocking me. He was referring to the top 3 complaints fielded by both him and her. So he was mocking the people of the city. Even if it was taken down, it was broadcast. He could have chosen any other words. Test 1, 2, 3, for example. He chose instead to mock the people of Jamestown. Is this how our mayor's office looks at us? Do you see us as a joke? Will anything be done about this? And I included that recording in the email that is still as of yet unanswered, along with another one that I thought I would read, but this one's a little more important.
Mr. Wolf,
Yes, ma'am.
in all fairness, I was out of town last week.
Okay.
Your email is right in front of me.
Awesome, thank you.
So, you know, it was directed to me and I was out of town. Okay? So, first of all, you have to understand that we do respond, but it doesn't mean we're going to get back to you in the next day or 2 days, but we will take time if there's questions that need to be answered on any email that comes to our office.
In
Please, can I
response,
finish?
March 18th, I also sent you an email that is still unanswered, just so we're clear on your response.
Can I finish?
Go ahead, I'm sorry. This is my 5 minutes, but go ahead, I'm sorry.
I'll extend it a minute, but you know, if you're going to sit up here and accuse people of things that they didn't do, that is your interpretation of what they did. I owe it to my staff and the residents of the city to say that that was not, and it's been explained to you and your wife and to other people multiple times. If you know that person's personality, you know that they're bubbly, they're cheerful, they're always friendly, and I'm sorry you took it as personal, but it was not personal to anyone.
So instead, he
Okay.
was making fun of the residents of the
No,
city.
he
That's
was not.
awesome.
Mr.
I'm glad
Wolf,
to hear you feel that way.
Mr. Wolf, can I finish?
Please explain to me what his words meant. Actually, he could explain it if he chooses to. He's right
His
there.
words were acting as if he was a resident coming to a meeting, addressing the complaints that we have heard about our meetings, which is the microphone isn't loud enough. We get complaints all the time about potholes, sidewalks, traffic, garbage and debris are the #1 complaints. It is no, those are calls we receive on a daily basis. So, to me, he was acting as if he was a citizen speaking of valid concerns that get brought up, not by any one individual in particular, you or anyone else who calls.
So when someone says, my name is, no, I'm not going to say that, that would be mean. They're
Because they would pick on
referencing
anybody.
a specific person, okay. I'm glad to hear you feel that way, thank you.
If people feel that.
Thank you.
Mr. Wolf, I heard that
Yes.
too, and I believe me. That, and that's ridiculous to think it was you. I didn't think, when I heard that, can I let me finish?
Yes.
When I heard that, I didn't think of anybody. I thought the same thing that the mayor just explained. Those are the complaints we hear multiple times, multiple weeks, all the time. Those are the basic ones we hear constantly.
I wish you would stop referencing
name
me
never
affecting
came
me
into your mind.
personally. In all honesty, I thought it was me personally. I will not lie about that when I heard it. But then Ashlyn explained to me,
But I
and if
didn't
she were
think-
here, she could tell you, I even said, okay, I will take you at your word, that it was not about me.
It
So
wasn't.
instead it was referencing the
It wasn't.
citizens of the city.
Yeah, because that's their complaints, and that's,
If I took it that way and the folks messaging my wife took it that way, I'm just saying, it's
I
good to know that you
understand
don't
that,
understand
but the
your
fact
citizens.
remains, no one was making fun of any one individual, period. Okay?
Okay.
And as far as your
And-
previous email, you're asking for website updates and things that we don't currently do, and that's something we have to look into.
The last one I asked you to do actually got done within a couple of days, so please don't tell me
The
it's not
March
for you
one
to do.
is asking for committee members, committee names,
I'm
and all
talking
that.
about the calendar update that I asked you about just a couple weeks ago, that's already been done, so please don't tell me you can't do website.
You're the only one I haven't answered of yours is,
That was here, we talked about it, you actually shushed me off to someone else when I asked
no,
you about it.
that was the calendar.
Yes,
the
I'm
email.
talking about March 18th, that still hasn't been answered.
That's the one I'm talking about. That is the one I am
Updating the
referencing.
website isn't something you guys can do
We
for the
can't,
committees?
we can, but I said it requires some work and movement,
Okay.
okay?
But it will be done.
I
within
can't
a timely
guarantee you
manner.
it will be exactly what
before-
you're asking.
Before maybe these committees' timeframes end, so that folks like me, who might want to sit on some of
There
these
is-
boards, know when the appointed citizens to certain committees' positions are expired. I'm a citizen, I have a right to sit on those boards. If I don't know when those positions are open, how do I know when I can apply for them?
Mr. Wolf, everybody is asked and has been asked multiple times if there is a certain committee you wish to get on, to send a letter to the mayor's office or to the mayor's email, or to the clerk's office or to the clerk's email. That is clearly on the website. There is no formal application. There is no, your name goes into a list to get on it.
I am done. You
Okay.
are telling me lies
Thank
at this
you.
point, thank you.
For your comments. Is there anyone else that would like to address the city council this evening? Okay, we're going to our standing committee updates, housing. Councilman Sheldon,
Thank you. I was the acting chair, so the chair was on vacation this week.
yes.
We had our director of development, Crystal Sturdick, address our committee and councilmen who were here. Go over the details of the 2026 fiscal year annual action plan. We talked about this in finance last week and we didn't have the dollar amounts, and I think everybody should have a copy of that now. Where CDBG activities, 80% of the active funds will be going to low to moderate benefit activities. She went through great detail on what some of these things could occur or entail. Anybody else? I think everybody's pretty well heard this. I think everybody was here. And then Andrew got an update on finance, so I don't think I need to go over all these numbers. If there's anything else you want to add, Crystal? at this point? So the resolution comes under the finance committee, it's the first resolution.
Only thing I'll add, I guess, is we have a public meeting tomorrow at noon It's a virtual public meeting, so there's a link that went out via social media. We are happy to send it to anybody directly as well. Just trying to make it more accessible, like during the lunchtime hour for folks that may not be able to do, an in-person or attend a weekend or an evening session. So just trying something a little different. And then we will have a public hearing on May 18th, just before the voting session, at 6:45 p.m. in council chambers. And are doing public comment through the end of this month, and then we are submitting our final draft to HUD on June 1st.
Thank you. And Crystal also updated us on the commercial roofing permit fees. I see this is on the mayor's agenda.
I
so
will be discussing it.
I will defer
Yep.
those comments to that section. That's all we had from HUD. Any other questions? Thank you.
Finance Committee?
Thank you, Madam President. We had 8 resolutions in finance that all passed. First resolution is kind of what we've just talked about, authorizing that the city, the mayor, put in the annual action plan and the application for the community development block grant and home activities that will allow those programs to be funded. The second resolution that we covered is there's been an employee retirement in the finance department, and so it is authorizing that the hiring freeze be suspended and that the position for senior account clerk in finance be filled. The third resolution, again, is suspending the hiring freeze. And this would allow then the one full-time account clerk to be hired in the city clerk's office. Fourth resolution is that we enter into agreement with the county and JCC for the provision of taking on student emergency medical technicians for educational purposes and clinical experience. So the interns would be working with our local fire department. There's no fiscal impact for the city from that. And just going back quick, the funding for both of the positions for the account clerks are in the current 2026 budget.
Excuse me.
Fifth resolution, and the next several have to do with kind of public works. First one is that we will work with the Jamestown Board of Public Utilities for the road hole contract, which is basically for brick pavement installation and the relaying of brick pavements. Funding for that will come from a variety of sources. It could be from the DPW contractual services account, the brick rehab, CHIPS, or block grant improvements. Signature Paving and Seal Coating will be the contractor for that work. Next resolution is that the Director of Public Works is authorized to purchase construction materials and services at price quoted to the County of Cattaraugus and set forth in the Cattaraugus County 2026 construction season purchasing guide. This would be using Lakeshore Paving for some of their expertise and equipment, allow kind of the public works people to describe the details on that. But this would be at a lower cost than using another contractor. The last two, 7 and 8, are for concrete work to be done for street reconstruction First one is on Barrows Avenue from Willard Street to Lind Alley. The total amount is $195,605. Project will be funded through CHIPS. And the next resolution is for concrete work for street reconstruction, Hall Avenue, Front Street to Palmer Street. The total amount for that is $158,872.50. And again, both projects will be funded through CHIPS funding. Public Works can give more of the details of the exact amount. And kind of enclosed, Erica probably has update on kind of where we're at in terms of the budget and expenditures, so I'll let Erica speak to you about that.
So, high level, without getting into the weeds too much, through the end of April, we would have expected to spend 30.8% of the budget, and right now the expenses to date are about 23.6%. But that's skewed a little bit because we have some bigger bills that come due later in the year, so it will catch up somewhat. But I can tell you right now, salaries are running about 28.7 against the 30.8. Equipment purchases, and this is small tools, this is in capital, is 18.9. So I would expect with the construction season, there's gonna be some equipment, and Mark's gonna need, and probably some of the small tools that the parks guys purchase annually, those expenses will come later. The contractual expenses are 25%, but with the construction season starting, again, that number's gonna bump up as we move forward. We don't have any CHIP spending booked yet, so the capital spend against that is 0. The one number that looks high, and that's the long-term debt, which is where all the bond payments are. That's 67% of the annual budget when we should be at 30. But it's lumpy because we paid most of that by June. I have a couple bond payments coming due in June, and then throughout the rest of the year, it'll catch up. Just is a lumpy kind of a purchase. And then right now the fringes are running about 15.6, and again, we get a big retirement bill in December, so that will eventually catch up. So take it with a grain of salt. It's not, I have some things that aren't actually calculating the way that I normally would, but this is just like a straight divide by 12 kind of a thing. So generally speaking, we're under where we should be. So I would say we're on target.
Thank you.
Just a quick question, and
Yeah.
it comes up a lot, like, we're down officer-wise, correct? From what we've budgeted, how does that balance out with the overtime? How does that impact the overtime? I mean, we have how many less officers than we have budgeted for? 5? Is it that many? Okay, roughly.
Because of the recent
Yeah, we
retirements.
had a couple retirements that had recent.
I'm just wondering if that trend continues, how does that affect the budget? I know that will increase over time, I would assume.
Yeah,
Overtime's up.
yeah,
Yeah.
Every
Does
time
that
is up.
balance it off, or is it came about close, or
Police department salary.
It doesn't have to
off
be
the top of your
exact,
head. Overall, not
overall?
overall.
May not have to be exact, I'm just wondering, like,
I think I have it split, so I won't have the overall number. I have a lot of staff.
that's okay, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's close, I don't think, because you're paying overtime salary of
Right.
a significantly of a senior officer versus a new
Versus,
hire
right.
too. So time and a half of a senior officer is going to eat up much more than
I just
a
know that
new hire.
people question
Hourly,
that,
yeah.
and wonder like, well, if we have less officers than we've have budgeted for, doesn't that save money? Well,
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
Yeah,
So-
Depends on that, yeah.
Cause you
Depends
still
on
have to do fill the shifts and do the work.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, you can't close the store early.
Correct. Correct.
Alright, just curious, because people have asked about it, and, you know, obviously would prefer to be at full staff, you know, for lots of reasons, but.
We use 70, it's like 60 to 70.
So just as a reference, so $60 to $70 an hour is used for any outside event that requires an officer because that's overtime. So that's not your highest and it's certainly not your lowest, but, so you're talking a $30 an hour employee versus
Versus-
60 or 70. So
It gets eaten up.
it gets eaten up pretty quick, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Hopefully
Yeah.
find some.
We'd love to hire more.
That's
We're working on it.
too.
Yeah.
We're working on it.
And overtime, hire someone.
We'd love to. And I know he's working very hard on it.
Thank you.
Is that it? Councilman? All right, we'll move into, public safety.
Thank you, Madam President. We only had the one resolution that was on finance, and it had to do with authorizing the fire chief to enter into an affiliate agreement with Chappaqua County Emergency Medical Services and JCC for the provision of taking on student emergency medical technicians for educational purposes and clinical experience subject to approval. Right, which passed. That was, again, discussed in finance. And then that was it for resolutions. The only other two things we had, one special event, the Chautauqua Lake Rowing Association will have their 20-year kickoff event Sunday, May 31st, from 12 to 3 p.m. at McCray Point, and that was passed. And then the annual block party hosted by Jeff Bloomquist on Blanchard Street from Windsor to Alton Place, Beverly Place to Cary, as well as the edge of Alton Place in Beverly. That's going to be held Saturday, July 25th from 4 to 9:30 with the rain date. It said the 27th, but it's actually the 26th of July. With the typo, so. And that was passed. That was pretty much it. We just had one brief discussion, and last week we discussed, the chief brought packets for in case there were anybody here that was interested, the woman had come last week, asking about neighborhood watch information, and then we discussed possibly if we want to do something like on the National Night Out, maybe just one location, do something and just kind of get back into that. Buffalo apparently is starting to do that again this year. I know in years past, we had several locations, but maybe a smaller scaled back version on that. It's August 6th or 4th.
Fourth, Tuesday, August 4th.
Okay. Just something to think about in the future, that
Yeah.
maybe there's a location where we can have a small gathering and kind of go over some of that stuff and kind of maybe resurrect and recreate some of that. So we had a brief discussion about that. And that was it for public safety.
Thank you. Public Works.
Public Works. Thank you, Madam President. We're going to turn it over to Mark. He's going to lead us off here with a new transportation project report coming up on the channel project that we have.
Okay, so I'm kind of going to give you a brief summary of a project that I know our department and the DOD has been working on for a long time. So I handed everyone a handy little packet. If you flip to the last page of this, there is a location map. It'll probably be easiest just to look at this. So this project is the cleaning of the maintenance channels that exist mostly off the back of Jackson Taylor Park and off of Jones and Gifford. So as you can see, there's about 1.2 miles of channel that for 50 plus years has not been maintained at all. So during that time, a lot of sediment and debris has built up in these channels. Currently, we're not able to get back and access these channels to clean them at all. It's all in wetland, it's boggy, it's swampy, it's very difficult to get to. The main goal of this project would be to get in back to these channels and haul out the debris and sediment to help clean them out and help stormwater flow a little bit better again. So a big part of this project will be actually creating access back into these areas. So we'll do that by basically creating access trails or access points back along the channels themselves, going in with equipment, hauling the material out, taking it to separate dewatering areas, letting it dry out, and then a lot of this material is contaminated, so it has to be hauled up to the Chautauqua County landfill. Like I said before, this project takes place in the wetlands as well, so we'll also have to do wetland mitigation. Like I said before, this is about 1.2 miles of channels. Estimate, there's about 14,000 cubic yards of material that we're gonna have to take out of these channels. That equates to roughly 1,400 to 2,000 truckloads that over the course of a few construction seasons, we're gonna have to take out. So, like I said, we're gonna create access trails or access points out across these channels where possible. There are some areas that are probably gonna be just too wet and we're never gonna be able to make something that equipment can get out on. So there will probably be some from the water dredging that will have to be done as well. We've spoken with some local organizations that have some of that capability and they might be able to assist us in that. The biggest thing, or one of the big things about this project is in the future, the continued maintenance of these channels. So we don't want to go in and clean these once and then ignore them again for 50 years. We want to be able to get back in there on a rotation every 5 to 7 years or as needed to be able to get in and maintain these channels. So, that being said, this is a very large project and a very expensive one. The New York State DOT has allocated to the city the full estimated cost of the project, which is $5.5 million. There is, however, a 20% local match on top of that money. So the city would be responsible for $1.1 million of this project. Next month you'll have a resolution in front of you, which is a state and local agreement between Jamestown and New York State, which would basically be committing the city to this project. We have till 2029 to spend it. So the plan currently is to, this project is very easily broken up into segments. As you can see from the map, there's kind of easy bite off, easily separated areas. So one of the ideas would be to stretch this project over, 3 years of spend to help minimize the cost on any 1 year's budget. We also have been working on ways to, continue to reduce not only the cost of the project, but also to find alternate sources of the city's match. So we've been working with local groups to do some of the wetland mitigation. We're going after some New York State DEC grants, which could count towards our match. We've talked to the county about shared services and about them at least reducing their tipping fees up at the landfill. We're planning on using as many city forces as we can over this project, which won't reduce our match because we can't get reimbursed on that, but it'll reduce the total cost of the project. Same with the county, if we use any county forces or equipment, or if they lower tipping fees, it'll reduce the actual cost of the project itself. This is also the project that Congressman Nick Langworthy allocated money to. We don't have final determination on that money yet. That is federal money. So like I said, you'll have a resolution that next month that will be asking to commit to this project. Once that gets passed, then we'll basically be able to start engineering work 4 or 5 weeks after that. So in the meantime, we will be putting out an RFP to solicit an engineering firm to help us with the rest of the preliminary work and the final design. We've had a consultant for years working on getting New York State DEC permits to be able to work in these areas and to do this work. So this is something that the city has already invested in to this plan.
Mark, I'm just gonna add that Congress's money is federal, along with the other money is federal, so it cannot offset any of our required funding to pay. So that's why he's looking at the state DEC and those other grants to offset that. Can't use federal on federal.
And we're getting information from their office if there's a match on that money as well, which there might be. So we're still trying to kind of nail down what that money actually is. But if there's, no match or less match, then that can help, again, reduce the cost of this $5.5 million.
How is this related to, like, the watershed, are they part of this? Or-
Yes, we've had conversations with the watershed, yes.
I know he mentioned this a while back.
Yeah, we've been working on it for quite a long
So
time,
he's
yeah.
kind of part of that.
Yeah, so we've had conversations with them, we've had conversations with Soil and Water, and those sorts of local organizations. The Chautauqua Lake Association has been involved as well, because they have some of that equipment that we could do the on-water dredging with. So yeah, we've been talking to those.
So will the end result be less flooding and more flow to the water and less?
Yeah, so basically, yeah, we're gonna be taking out 2 to 4 feet of sediment. So you're talking sediment that's that deep, that's in these channels. So it creates more storage in the wetland itself, which allows, water to move. So the ditches along Jones and Gifford, once we're done, the ditches will probably always have some water in them, but it'll be much lower. It won't, every time it rains, it won't flood across Jones and Gifford. Yeah. And the same thing happens in the back of Jackson Taylor Park as well. Every time it rains, the water comes up pretty quick.
So the residents on like Lafayette Street, does this impact them at all, those that are butting up towards?
Most of the work for this project, if you know where the bike path is, on that
It's
side,
gonna be
it's
down.
the other side of the bike path. It's
Okay.
from the bike path to the river.
Great.
Because that's where all of the wetlands are.
Although
That's why
that
we
part
can't
gets
work.
flooded pretty well too, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but this'll, this'll
Help
clear out
mitigate
space of those ditches and it will help alleviate that to an extent.
Is there any issues with wildlife?
Yeah, so we've been working with the DEC for a few years to make sure that we have all of that down. Yep.
Beavers.
Yeah, I do, it's the beavers.
Ducks and
Yep, no, I mean,
alligators.
obviously this is a whole big mitigation and disturbing as little as possible of the wildlife.
Yeah, in part of this project, we have to, if we're making, these access trails, which will be used to take the material out, most of the time, it's just gonna be a trail after the water. So the public will be able to use these trails after the project's done and in between when we're using them, which will be most of the time. So there'll be additional access out to the water as well. So there's a public benefit in that too.
Does the bike path help the access?
Yeah, to an extent.
Yep.
Mhm. Yep.
And the properties we bought will help with the rules for storage of the sediment as we pull it out.
Yeah, so it has to be piled and dewatered for a certain amount of time until it's lost a certain amount of moisture content, and then it can be loaded onto trucks again and hauled to the landfill.
Wow.
Sir, I was just kidding about the alligators. If you find them
It's a
in there-
big project.
If you find them in there, we got a problem.
Anything else?
Thank you. Oh, that's good thing.
Very much.
Is that it for public works or you?
I could read the 4 resolutions.
Okay.
So, thank you, Madam President. 4 resolutions coming out of Public Works besides that presentation. First resolution is for Jamestown Public Utilities and the city to engage in an agreement for brick repair. The Director of Public Works is authorized to utilize the contract for pavement installation, pavement relay, price quoted to Jamestown Board of Public Utilities. Set forth in the road haul contract. This work will go across the city anywhere there's issues within the bricks. Second resolution, whereas the County of Cattaraugus included the City of Jamestown bidding process contractual materials and services, which our Director of Public Works authorized to purchase construction materials and services for the prices quoted. County of Cattaraugus set forth in the Cattaraugus County 2026 construction season pricing guide. Just our agreement that we're going to use that guide for pricing of material. Third resolution is for work that's on Barrows Avenue, Willard Street to Lind Alley, and this is actually good news. This is going to be completing a project that was started last year, so it'll be the termination of the project that's been going over for 2 years, and we're very excited that that will be completing this year, hopefully by the end of July is the target date for that. And last but not least, we have a result of the mayor hereby authorized to execute an agreement with Estabone for concrete work on Hall Avenue, Front Street to Palmer Street. This construction will continue. Total bid amount $158,000. Be used through CHIPS funding, and that is everything that we have for public works that came out of there.
Can I add one thing? I got there before you guys, I think you're still at housing, but I talked to Mark briefly. I've gotten a couple complaints about the parking meters. Some of them don't take coins at the moment, you have to use the app. It's almost comical because I have gotten 2 complaints in the past week, so I came to City Hall today to talk about it. And the meter ate my 1 quarter that I had. So I had to download the app, which took 2 minutes to download. And then I don't know how this maths, but the first 30 minutes cost me 58 cents versus a quarter because there's a 33-cent convenience fee. And then obviously I was here longer than 30 minutes, so it gave me the alert. So I added another hour to the meter, which would have been 50 cents if I had quarters. And somehow that hour cost me $1.99 after the convenience fee. So with the quarter that it ate, the $1.99, the 58 cents, I'm at over $3 to be here when it should have cost 75 cents. So I talked to Mark, some of the meters, I think they're all gonna take quarters again eventually, right?
Yeah, that's,
We're not doing away with that. I had a complaint from somebody that was upset that if they didn't have a smartphone, they couldn't have done it, and then somebody called me that didn't have a smartphone, couldn't pay and got a ticket. So they will all take quarters again soon-ish?
yeah, we have, so it's mostly the issue with the newer meters that take credit cards. They have a backup battery that we've had trouble sourcing recently. I believe we just ordered a batch enough to replace everything that's current. So hopefully in the next few weeks, we're able to get those in and get those back out in the street.
I recall that being an issue last year, the backup batteries.
Just a question, with the fees that Andrew just gave us, are those fees correct? That's how much it actually costs?
I can show
Or
you.
was something wrong with their,
That I don't know,
I mean, it's awful high.
It says my parking fee for the hour was 50 cents, the convenience fee was 33 cents, and they charged me $1.99.
So what's the convenience fee? Just
It's not very
One-time
convenient.
fee? I mean,
It doesn't even add up right.
Yeah,
Something
no, I
else
just-
going on there, but
What is the convenience fee?
it was the inconvenience fee actually.
Really? Yeah.
The city's end or from?
From the parking apps. So I don't know if they take a cut of the meter fee from the city also, but they're making more than the city is on these meters in the app. By quite a bit from what I paid today. So, no, it's an inconvenient.
Yeah.
So if anybody gets complaints, they will all be taking quarters. If it eats your quarter, like it did me, you're on your own. So, the single spot right here by the cart hub, don't trust that meter.
Somebody in there, right?
It actually started counting down. It took my quarter and then it said I had -1 minute left.
Sacrifice.
So,
I would say, for members of the public, if there's any issues with the meters, if they should report those to the Department of Public Works, or they could report that to the Corporation Counsel's office, which would send it to the Department of Public Works, where we have an employee that handles all meters.
Elliot will pay that difference.
Yeah, I wondered, has Mark presented a list of street projects for this year to the committee,
I
or?
don't think so. I cannot recall. I do apologize. I cannot recall if you have or have not.
Yeah, we
Good.
gave them to you last month.
Okay.
We sent them to mayor's office.
Could you forward them to the other council members?
No,
Could you though?
I can do that.
Yes,
Thank you.
that'd be great.
I can do that.
Are they on the website? No, okay.
Only if they're started, probably.
I think mine was preliminary, Mark, so if you changed anything, I don't know that mine is accurate.
I'll get an updated list of those.
All right, anything else, Councilman?
No, Madam President, thank you very much.
Wonderful. Mayor's remarks.
So first I wanna, unfortunately he left, but I did email him. If you do Google the boards and commissions for the city of Jamestown and go to that page, it clearly states that you can send an email or call the mayor's office with any interest for any board and commission. And I'm sure all of you realized by the timing of appointments that it fluctuates by person, even on every committee. So there's always a vacancy, I would dare say, every year on certain committees. There might be one person, there might be two. But generally it runs calendar year to calendar year as a correct statement. But, so I did not lie. It is there. You can submit a request. We actually have a few requests for some committees that don't currently have openings that we just keep in a file for the next appointment. So that is clear. The other thing on the agenda that I do want to go over in a little bit more detail is the discussion on the commercial roofing permit. As you heard, I was out last week for work traveling, but worked with Crystal and Kenny, in DOD. I'm sure you guys saw the video on social media. I'm sure some of you got a call. You know, I advised some people that we would take a look at it, and I do want to thank Joe, Crystal, and Kenny. We met before I left, and I gave them, we did a lot of research to see where our old 25 cents an hour, we have no idea where or when it came from, because that was pre-Crystal and whatever, but so we took a look at all kinds of cities across the state to see what they did. We took a look at even locally, and put together some numbers. And then they had a recommendation, and it came last week while I was gone, so we met first thing this morning, which is why it wasn't an agenda item for one of your committees, because I didn't have time to meet with them to review it before today. But what we have landed at is 8 cents versus 25 cents. So there is a flat fee of 120. That didn't change, and this is commercial only. The installation or the calculation of 25 cents a square foot will be reduced to 8 cents, which falls very much in line with anywhere from New York City to Poughkeepsie to anywhere. The other caveat that we added, that we put in a max of $2,500. So the most someone will pay will be $2,500 plus the 120.
How many square
Now,
feet would that be?
huh?
That's a ton of square feet, isn't it?
Oh, but we looked at, so Big Lots, for example, that building is 8,000 square feet. If you look at Tops on Washington, that is 75,000 square feet. So Kenny did pick certain buildings in the city. You know, you talk about a church, some of the bigger churches, especially the one on, Buffalo and Lakeview. That's a lot of property. Not saying they would do the entire roof at one time, but it'll add up the same no matter how you do it. So we took those all into consideration and picked this. There's other cities that do upwards of 10 cents. There's some that do 5 and some that do none, which blows my mind because there is a cost to the staff to do some of that work. So this is nowhere near what it is for a new building. That stayed the same. This is just redoing reinstallation of a commercial roof. So I think it's a pretty good compromise. We tossed back numbers back and forth. And for you, so you understand, we looked at numbers from 25 cents down to 5 cents and landed on 8. Anything I missed on that?
No, I think you got it covered.
Okay,
Will
so
we be voting on that next week?
yes, it'll be under new business because it couldn't get pre-filed, but you will be voting on it next week. I do know that Kenny has also communicated what will happen with the current permit people who paid the 25 cents this year. So Kenny and Crystal have been in contact with them to handle those that have already applied for the year, because we're going to compensate them. Okay? So, it's about what's doing right and what's fair. So, that is it for that one. I do want to remind everybody that Hands on the Neighborhoods is this Saturday from 8 to 12. And I know we have a voting session next week, and I will probably remind you again. But it is of utmost importance to get as many hands at Lakeview Cemetery on the 21st at 4 p.m. to place flags on over 4,500 veterans in that cemetery. So, that is it for me. I have nothing for executive session unless he changed his mind in the last hour.